Hi, my name's Deanna, co-founder of Sister Solutions, and recently my wonderful sister Hannah recorded an interview of myself and some of my siblings talking about being donor conceived. Now it's over 2 hours long, so we're going to post it in segments, but here is the first segment of us introducing ourselves and telling you a little bit about our donor conceived story. Enjoy!
Thank y'all for being here. So for everyone watching, these are just a few of our siblings. And we're really excited for you to get to know a little bit about them. So I'm gonna let everyone go around, introduce themselves, and then tell kind of how long they've known their donor conceived. So I'll start with Adam because you're on the left of my screen. So Adam, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm a music producer. I've known that's totally irrelevant. Sorry.
No,
I
that's who
just
you
literally threw
are.
that out there just for the hell of it. The heck of it. Sorry, I'm already bombing this. I I learned that I was I was a donor conceived son when I was 13, and it completely kind of like shook my world a little bit. That was being a teenager, like just turning a teenager, and then learning, hey, your dad, who you've never met because I grew up in a single parent household, is some random guy, and there's basically some artificial insemination that happened and all this other stuff, and like that's how you were conceived and born and everything like that. And when that happened, literally, it was a lot to take in. Actually, my mom at the time, she told me of one of the people, one of our siblings who actually tried to reach out around that time, and I actually said no. Because I was just so like, I was 13 years old and like prepubescent, just like, trying to figure out what's going on with my own self. Where that was just such a big, heavy thing where I just obviously didn't interact with that too well. Um, Now in 30s, I'm super like happy. I have a, extended family. So,
It's a lot different when you're 13 versus 30.
right.
Rachel.
So I'm a researcher. I found out almost exactly a year ago. Deanna reached out to me and I thought it was some kind of scam, gonna be completely honest. And so, being me, I guess, I was like, okay, well, this person's not worth talking to. And so I did a little research. I found out when I was sitting, so this, I guess, is kind of important because I started laughing. I was sitting on my boyfriend's parents' couch next to my boyfriend, and I was like, look at this weird message I just got. And so I started, I went on Google and I started doing some reading, and then I decided, what can I trust? So I went on Google Scholar, which is like all the academic stuff. And so I started doing some reading, and then I reached out to my boyfriend's brother, who's a doctor, and I was like, is this even possible? Like, is this a real thing? And he was like, I don't know, I don't do that kind of medicine. So that was not helpful. And so then I finally replied to Deanna, and I think I told her I needed some time. And then I talked to my mom, my mom is really close. She has two sisters, really close, and they're all really excited to someday meet you because my family's a bit invasive. And they just are really excited. Yeah, my mom didn't know. I didn't know. No one knew. And so that's kind of how I found out. And I guess that's a little bit about me. I don't know if I actually answered your question, but
no, that does. And I'm gonna ask you more in a minute about the like no one knowing thing, because that's like, yeah, kind of like a shock to everyone.
Yeah, like a little bit. Yeah,
just a little bit. Yeah. Lauren, I will get you to go next.
Hey, I'm in audit, and I found out that I was a sperm kid from when I was like 16. My mom told me when she got mad at my dad about something, and she got a little mad at him, but it never changed anything for me. It didn't bother me because I was like, my dad was my dad, and it's just, I mean, it's kind of interesting, but it never was a big deal to me. And then I found out, I guess, about a year ago when Deanna contacted my child's father when he did something on ancestry.com. And so then he asked me if I wanted to talk to her, and I said, sure. So that's how I came to know every one of y'all.
Awesome. And Mary, so Mary, we're not using her real name because she is not officially out to all of her family about being DC. But Mary, can you tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah, so I have an Etsy shop, and then I'm in school right now to be an art teacher. I'm almost done, thank God. But I found out when I was 23, so like a year and a half. God, I don't 2000. Yeah, it was in 2019. I took a 23andMe test, and I remember like waking up in the morning because I was so excited to get my results because I just wanted to like, I didn't even know you could like check relatives. And then I was like, oh, this is a fun little feature. And I click on it and I see 2 half sisters. It was Deanna and Hannah on there. I'm like, what? So I called my mom and I was like telling her about it. I was like, it's really weird. Like it says I have 2 half siblings. I was thinking like maybe they're like distant cousins, and like it got mixed up, and they're not really my half siblings. And my mom just said, that's preposterous. I thought that is like the weirdest response. So yeah, I kind of just like put it off. And then on my lunch break, I was like, okay, I'm gonna dig a little deeper into this. So I reached out to Hannah and Deanna, and I also thought it was like a scam, Rachel. I was like, what? This is so weird. And they wanted me to like call them, and I was like, oh, maybe this is like some weird scam. I don't know. So, but then then I found out it's not, and my parents used a sperm donor. So yeah.
Yeah. No, and it's funny because again, I thought it was a scam too when Deanna messaged me. I don't know poor Deanna. I feel like that's all she does is call people and they think they're scamming them.
Yeah. Don't know what I'm even scamming either. Clearly I'm not good at it.
So Deanna, I mean, most people will know by this point because this is going on, our podcast and then also for the YouTube channel. But Deanna, tell a little bit about yourself.
I work as a genetic genealogist for our company, and I help people locate biological family members. Before that, I worked in mental health for about 10 years. I found out I was donor conceived when I matched with 3 half siblings on Ancestry. And on Ancestry, it doesn't label it as sister, brother, that kind of thing. It just says like close family. And it either had to be like an aunt or uncle or half sibling. And so I called my parents and I was like, do you have kids or siblings I don't know about? And they were like, no, what are you talking about? And I was like, okay, well, somebody does. And then they avoided my calls for a few days. And then I messaged everyone, and Adam actually wrote me back and said like, oh, I'm from a sperm donor. We're probably half siblings. Don't let it blow up your world. That's so cool. And it did. To be fair, I found out like 2 days before Christmas or 5 days before Christmas. So it was kind of like emotionally charged timing, I guess. But my parents I asked my mom and I was like, hey, I just have one question. This was after many attempts to talk and avoidance. But I just said, is dad the sperm donor or did you use a sperm donor? And she goes, that's an interesting question. I love you. Bye. I was like, okay, cool. So I kind of figured out it wasn't my dad because that would have been a easy answer. And then they confirmed, but my mom was told by the doctor if I ever found out that I would never speak to her again and that I wouldn't love them and like all that kind of stuff. And so my mom was like genuinely thought that that was what was going to happen. And she said they tried to tell me as a kid a few times, but just never got the courage to because they didn't want to lose me. Which I have a very only child mindset. So like I don't have to share my parents and I get a bunch of siblings. So it's like win-win. Yeah. And then I spent 2 weeks like a crazy person glued to a screen until I found out who our donor was.
I run a study abroad office and also work with Deanna on Sister Solutions. And I found out from being on 23andMe, and Deanna reached out to me. Again, thought it was a scam. I had actually been on 23andMe for a while, but it wasn't until she reached out that I realized that, this was a thing. And it's funny because if I had just chosen to be on Ancestry DNA, I would have found Adam like a year or so before. And then this would have been a way different situation because I do not have the capabilities to find our donor like Deanna did. And I kind of had everything handed to me on a silver platter when I found out because Deanna had already found our donor and just kind of handed it over and said, hey, so I have everything. And I'm like, cool. I don't have to figure out anything. This is great. So it was actually it was an easier time for me than I feel like some people not knowing what's going on.